Hi there, Sonia here. Welcome back to another episode of the Help I Am Artist podcast. This podcast is here to help artists like you get more clear and confident about your art. As artists, so much about what we do comes from within us. How we feel and what we think will literally determine our steps and our choices. And that is why I focus so much on the mindset behind good art. In order to succeed, we need to get clear about these three things. Who are you as an artist? What is it that you want to say? And how are you going to say it through your art? Where can you connect with your potential art audience and start to turn them into followers? How do you do this? How do you actually make art, connect it with a potential art audience, and actually earn money from your art? Does the idea of stepping out of your workplace or out of your studio to start to actively sell overwhelm you and you just don't know where to start? Then I have made this special worksheet for you to download. The Artist Success Guide is a 7-step framework with tips and tricks and tasks to help you get more clear about who you are as an artist and how you can start to communicate what you do with more confidence. You can access the Artist Success Guide at www.soniasmallhere.com/artistsuccessguide. As long as I can remember, I've always loved stories. As a child, my mom and my dad would always read to us before we went to bed. These magical moments transported me into another world. I could be the princess, or I could be the stray dog finding his way home, or even the villain trying to think up a scheme how to steal my brother's sweets. In stories, anything is possible. Stories are entertaining, powerful tools that help us connect with our past, or help us reflect on the present, or show us what is possible in the future. Stories are kind of like flight simulators, the flight simulators of life, where we can practice life lessons without getting injured. Stories are the reasons I make my art. I record this podcast and why I travel the world. Stories teach me, they inspire me, and they connect me with you. Whether I was living with the Hopis in New Mexico or visiting a South African township, it's the stories they told me that remain so vividly in my heart and in my mind. Our art is inadvertently connected with who we are and what we've been through and our hopes and our dreams for the future. It's our unique stories that make us authentic and transports us into a greater form of expression. For years I worked on human interest stories for the national television station of the Netherlands. First I was a researcher, later producer, and then director of docudramas. What was I doing making these programs? Well, I was telling stories through images, emotions, and words. And every time a new docudrama aired, I would eagerly await the responses, the new stories that the programs evoked as the viewers watched the television docudrama. Stories and storytelling is a powerful tool. And in this fast, modern age, it's rare that we'll actually sit around a fire and share stories like the Bushmen. Or sadly, even sitting around the dinner table sharing stories are becoming more and more rare. With all that noise out there, it's the stories that will keep us authentic and will help you as an artist stay connected with your art audience, to identify and to have them relate with us. Only you can tell your story. Only you can make your art. The power of stories is still very relevant today, and we are no longer limited to firesides and to dinner tables. Social media has introduced us to amazing channels and platforms in which we as artists can share our stories. You may be thinking, oh no, Sonia, not another blog or another podcast about social media. But bear with me. This is not just something for the millennials. It's something us 50 plus artists who love to read books from paper and still send letters actually involving a mailman can embrace. So please don't press that stop button yet. This podcast is all about being open to new things. It's about discovering new avenues to promote and sell your work. If you are selling every piece and you do not need any promoting, then you can leave and go and have your coffee. But if you're not, then get ready. One of these powerful communication channels is Instagram, and in particular, Instagram stories. And if you love stories like me, then you're going to love this tool. Have you been using this tool to tell your stories? Insta stories, as it is pronounced by the millennials, is a great way to connect with your audience and to promote and sell your art. Recently I was teaching at an art conference in Germany, and I asked for a show of hands of who was using Instagram stories. And to my surprise, only a few hands went up. I thought it was a good idea to spend an episode unraveling what Insta stories is all about. Now, if you're driving or you're at the gym and you can't take notes, then I've written a step-by-step resource for you to download. At the end of the podcast or in the podcast notes, I will share where you can find this resource. Here is why I think that this is such a powerful tool, and it would be a waste for you to ignore it. Do you know that over 500 million users use Instagram stories every single day? And that Instagram is the second largest platform after Facebook? That the user of this app spends an average of 53 minutes connecting through Insta stories every day? And that the possibilities on Instagram have just begun? And that it's not going anywhere in the near future? Did you know that Instagram is free? It'll only cost you time and implementing a deliberate strategy. And most of all, it's not only for artists under 25, it's for everybody. Yes, you heard me right. Instagram is for everybody. My theory is, if you can follow a recipe to make a cake, you too can use Instagram. I speak to many artists, also those 50-something artists, in age I mean. And when I talk to them about using social media, I can literally see the blood leaving their bodies. Something happens in their brain, and you would think I would ask them to climb Mount Everest. But let me tell you, no matter if you're a baby boomer or Generation X or whatever age you are, you can learn it. The question is not if you can use Instagram. The right question is, do you want to use Instagram and do you want to promote and sell your art online? It's like so many things in life. You have to determine whether you want something or not, and this will determine the results. If you decide you're going to embrace this platform, you are going to see results. But let's start at the beginning. What is Instagram actually? Instagram is a free photo and video sharing app available on Apple, Android, and Windows phones. Users can upload photos and videos and share them with followers or a select group of friends. Viewers can like and comment on posts viewed by friends and family on Instagram. And anyone older than 13 can create an account by registering an email address and selecting a username. There are 3 locations that you can share content on Instagram. The first and most popular is the Instagram feed. There you can post your videos and your photos, and they'll be visible as long as you want. The second is Instagram television, or as the millennials would say, IGTV. Here's where you share videos and they'll be there as long as you want. And the third option and my focus for this podcast is Instagram Stories. This is a platform in which you can share your video and your photo content, and it will be only visible for 24 hours. Instagram Stories is an incredibly powerful sharing tool that you can use within the Instagram app to share your content, your art and your art insights or upcoming events, and you can start a conversation with your art audience. An Insta Story is a great way to share little snippets of what you're doing. You can start a conversation and you can articulate what you want to say in words or an image or in a video. And you can promote your own work, but also you can give a shout out to other artists or to suppliers or to friends. It's a great connecting tool. In Instagram Stories, you can use photo stills. So that's a still photo or videos. And the videos are just 15 seconds long. You can add them to a highlight roll or save them for later. But your content, if not saved, will disappear after 24 hours. And this will take the pressure off, especially for the perfectionists of us out there. Instagram Stories are authentic, real, and relatable. The good ones, that is. And if you're not too familiar with video and maybe not too comfortable in front of the camera, Instagram Stories Live, which is the live option, is a great way to get accustomed to using video, because that bad hair day or the focusing on, oh, I don't look so great on camera, will disappear after 24 hours. So it's a great way to learn and to get used to live video. Even though you can view your Instagram feed and the stories on your computer, you can only upload your images, your stickers, and your text from your mobile device. So a smartphone is a must if you actively want to use this tool. And the big revelation instigated by Instagram is the use of vertical photography and videos. So you no longer use the horizontal orientation, but you turn your phone around and use it lengthwise. So it's vertical. This takes a little bit of practice, but you will discover that vertical images and videos have their advantages. There are many resources online which you can watch and download to help you get a better grasp on how to use Instagram Stories. I've created a free worksheet for you to download. This resource will give you a quick, step-by-step framework to get you started. It's easy to follow. Remember, just like baking that cake. It's a recipe. This resource will also help you decide what you're going to share in your stories and what content works best for artists and what images and videos to use. Now let's start off with the 6 don'ts. These things you should not be doing when sharing and promoting your art with Instagram Stories. The first and foremost, Instagram can be overwhelming. When you start scrolling through the feeds, you can be overwhelmed by all the talent out there. There are so many people doing such amazing things. But you have to decide up front, and that's number 1, the don't, not to compare yourself with anyone else. It will take time for you to find your own Instagram voice and your unique style and way of sharing your content. It's a lot like finding your own artistic style. In the beginning, you'll try different things, discover different styles of posting, different ways of making up your posts, communicating through the captions. You'll move from one style to the other. You're in the exploratory phase, and that's fine. And of course, you can learn from others, but take note of what you like and how others use it, and try and incorporate it into your stories, making your unique story. But be aware not to make a value judgment of yourself by what you see, by comparing yourself with others. Number 2, be your own beautiful self. You may think that you don't have anything to say and that nobody is waiting for your story or to see what you had for breakfast. This is also not the intention of Instagram Stories. You need to adopt the storytelling mindset. Think of images and captions and videos. Remember, these are 15-second snippets to share your story. You can try, for example, to record a day in the life while working in your studio. How would you tell that story? I'll share more about this later. Using the social media app does not mean you have to share everything about yourself. You have to find the balance between personal and private. It's good to share something personal, but you have to guard the private. Number 3, don't waste time on meaningless scrolling. If you're an active social media user, you'll be all too familiar with the traps of mindless scrolling. Remember, those mobile phones and apps have been specially designed to attract and to distract, and they have a great job doing this. It takes discipline. In order to use Instagram stories successfully, you need to use it intentionally. What is your goal? What is your objective? Why are you using Instagram stories? And how can you use it to promote and sell your art? Decide who your audience is and set clear objectives. And stick to these consistently. Consistency is one of the keys in when sharing successfully online, and especially in Instagram stories. The feed can get quite cluttered. That's the first option I mentioned. If you just post there continually, the stories is more a platform that you can share more regularly. This you can do once a day. The feed I usually do 1 or 2 times a week, just to keep top of mind with my followers, and the stories I use actively. Once you know who your art audience is, you can actively start to pursue them and offer them value. So, decide what your objective is. In the worksheet I have some exercises that will help you determine your objective and to build an online strategy. If your objective is to promote and sell your art, then make this a focus. This takes strategic thinking. Ask yourself these questions. Who am I as an artist? Define who you are and how you're going to communicate this through colors, through words, through captions, through stickers and styles. Ask yourself, who is your ideal art audience? Who is this mysterious buyer out there? Where do they hang out online? What hashtags do they follow? And what profiles do they follow? What content are they consuming? It is your job to actively find them and bring them back to your content. Many people use Instagram and divert them to another profile or to another website. But Instagram works very powerfully when you keep people within the Instagram platform, taking them to other posts, communicating and engaging with them. What content will help you connect with your potential art customer? Do they like quizzes or polls or puzzles or images or quotes or insights or tours maybe? What possibilities are there for Instagram stories to help you communicate who you are, what you're making, and what you want people to remember about you? In the resource, I have a whole list of possibilities that are unique and powerful tools for artists to use. Once you have answered these questions, remember this will take time and some investigation. You can edit your profile and use photos and filters and captions to connect with your audience. Number 4, remember it's not about perfecting, it's about connecting. Contrary to what many people think about Instagram and Instagram stories, that it's a platform that needs to be perfectly manicured, curated and perfect. But the contrary is true. You need to be authentic. You need to be yourself. You need to find ways to connect. It's not about those perfectly curated photo images and posts. It's about being you, finding your voice, and sharing this in the best possible way. People connect with you on social media because they want to see a real person. Why is it that your mom or your sister or your friends are on social media? It's not because they want to see absolute perfection, but they want to laugh with you. They want to share moments with you, and they want to share life with you. Life the way it really is. So this is also true for your followers. They want to be able to relate to you. The good, the bad, and the beautiful. Number 5, of don'ts when posting to Instagram stories. Don't obsess about the numbers. Instagram is not about numbers. Of course, it's great to get the likes and the followers and the friends and the thumbs up. That's great, but that's not what it's all about. Instagram is all about engagement. And honestly, it's a lot easier to do and to understand your audience and to converse with them when your audience is not that big. When you have a small following, you can really dial down and understand who your art audience is. It just takes one. If you have one follower on Instagram, you already have a conversation, the potential of a conversation. Talk to your audience, ask them questions, get to know who they are and what they like. This is valuable information to help you build your platform. This is why I love the Instagram platform. It's such a great way to converse with people, and I've had such wonderful conversations with people I've never met. My audience loves art and is busy building an art business. And I love to hear feedback when I hear that one single post has helped them and inspired them to pick up a brush and finish a painting they've been staring at for months. I love it when I get a DM, that's a direct message, about their work and get touched as they explain how they've been painting and how their painting came to be. These moments are priceless and ever so meaningful, and there's an audience waiting out there to hear from you. But first, you need to believe this too. It's not the numbers that matter, but it's the value that you bring to those who follow you. It's about connection, creating content that adds value to the other that you are willing to create and share. Instagram Stories is about building a bridge and is a powerful conversation starter. The final don't do. Number 6. Don't be a hit and runner. This is the biggest mistake I see Instagram users do, and I'm guilty of this too. I've used the hit and run method. You feel you need to post something, anything, otherwise you're not hustling and you're not in it or with it anymore. You put together a post, you slap on some hashtags, you hit the post, send it, and close your computer. You've just left some valuable gold on the table. This is where it starts. It's good to be active in the newsfeed, liking and commenting and connecting with your audience before and after you post. Being active will get you more engagement and give you the opportunity to directly connect with people. Don't make it just about yourself. You're not just posting to get more eyes on your art or to sell your art. You're not just putting pictures of paintings with prices and with dimensions and hope that people are going to buy it. No, it's about sharing. It's about giving and taking. So don't try just sell, but add value. You need to add value before you can nurture a buyer that will possibly buy your work online. Now some definite do's when using Instagram stories. Create a consistent visual identity. The worksheet will help you here. I've made questions that you can think of and answer to establish your visual identity. This is achieved by the captions and the photos and the colors you use. Does your visual identity, that what you see on your profile and on your feed, reinforce why people follow you? Why do people choose to follow you, and why do they stay to follow you? Do they see your post and know that it's from you? Do you have a clear visual identity? That's something to work on. Number 2, promote your art not only by selling your art, but invite your audience into that conversation about your art. If you are a visual artist, tell stories behind the painting and the sculpture. Why did you make it? Why are you doing what you love? Add a personal note, something that inspired you, something that reminded you of your childhood, and you think, but that's also all about me. But by sharing your story, you can invite people into the conversation, invite them into your story, because everyone can remember the first time you saw a sunset with a loved one, or that your father took you out for dinner. These are all moments that we all can recognize and relate to. And by sharing your story will help other people remember their stories. Make sure that you caption every post. Statistics show that viewers are now turning off the sound more and more, and by adding captions to videos that have been spoken helps people secretly look at your video while they're sitting in the train. They don't have to turn on the sound, they can still receive the content. The sound is off, but they can read what you're saying. Use the basis of storytelling to tell your Insta story. Remember, at school, you start with a beginning, you have a middle, and you have an ending. And that's the same when you're posting an Instagram story. Use this framework, it really helps. For example, you're offering a color mixing course. You make a story to promote the course that's coming up in a few weeks. You use 5 posts to tell the story. And a post is a video, a photo, or a caption that tells the total story. They're frames. That's what I call them. Everyone calls them differently, but I call them frames. And just for the case of this example, frame is one part of the story. Together these frames make the story. And you can plan this in what's called a storyboard, just like the big-time movie makers do. A storyboard will help you decide what images and words will best tell your story. Then just some terminology. Vertical orientation. We already spoke about that. You don't hold your camera long ways on the horizon, but you turn it a quarter, and then it's the vertical orientation. It's the best to use vertical videos and vertical photos because using the horizontal orientation in a vertical setting makes your image too small and out of proportion. When you're using the word pan, that's a movement with your camera, with your phone in this instance, when you go from left to right and from right to left. A tilt is when you move your camera or your phone from the bottom to the top or the top from the bottom. Rotating, this is when you move your camera in a circular motion. You can all be big time camera and filmmakers here, but hold on for a second, this is important for your storyboard. A close-up is something that you zoom in on, whether that's a face that's from your shoulder, your neck and your face. And you have a medium shot that's from the waist upward, and full length that's from your head to your toes. Lighting. Use as much natural light as possible, or you can use a ring light or LED lighting. You can do some research online. Back to the color mixing course. Holding your camera, your phone in this instance, vertical. Your first frame. Put your camera on video mode and make a pan from left to right over the calendar. You can add a caption. For example, something special is about to happen in November. You can even add a countdown sticker. That's the sticker that you can find within the Instagram Story app, and start a countdown from the moment of posting to when your workshop starts. This adds anticipation. That can be a first frame, the video image. The second frame could be a photo, vertical again, of tubes of paint, all colorful and exciting in a work environment, all there next to each other. That's the second frame. The third frame is a video shot of you squeezing paint out of the tube onto a palette, 2 colors next to each other. The fourth frame is a photo of the palette with a palette knife and a question sticker over it. What color am I mixing here? You can ask, and add 4 possible answers. A question or a quiz is a great way to engage with potential students. You can start a conversation, whether they get it right or wrong. They're interested in mixing colors, and you might have a potential student. Using the DM, the direct message option, you can continue the conversation with them. And the fifth and final slide, you can do direct to camera. That means they see your face. Remember, you have 15 seconds. You face the camera and say, "Want to find out more about this fascinating world of color? Then join me on," say for example, the 20th of November in Amsterdam. See you there. Short and sweet, and you can add the address or add a URL. They won't be able to click on the URL, but you can add it in the story of where they can find out more information. This is just 5 frames in which you tell a story to which to promote your color workshop. And of course there's endless possibilities, so try out what works for you. Make a storyboard of how you can tell the story, step by step, a beginning, a middle and an end. And add these call to actions. A call to action, a CTA, called in the marketing world, nearly to every story, like a quiz or a question or a poll to spark the engagement. And then the DM. I can't add enough how powerful DMing is. You have a direct line with people. You can talk, you can converse, you can ask questions, you can give answers. Find an Instagram storyboard that works for you. Do you have a dog, or always drink a certain kind of coffee, or drive a unique car, or love a certain kind of music? Choose certain elements that make your life and your world unique and use them within your posts continually so people will start to recognize and see elements of you in the story. For me, example, I always ride a bike. I cycle everywhere. I love cycling. And in my stories, you'll often see a shot of a bike in video or on photo. And people find these elements and look for these stories because they define who you are. And you can build on this. Here are some questions that you can ask yourself when you're ready to post something. Would you respond to the post that you've just created and are about to post? Does it add value to your audience? And is it worth posting? Does your post reflect who you normally are? If you don't normally say, "Hey babe," then don't use this in your posts. Stay yourself. Use your own language. Will your viewers understand what you've posted? Will it be inspiring and uplifting and encouraging and cultivate relationships? And does your post invite conversation? Did you ask questions, add a call to action, and invite them into your world? Finally, in this podcast, 10 Instagram story ideas that artists can use successfully. Try them out and see what works for you. You can add a story about the art piece of the week. What have you been working on all week? And what is your pick of the week? Take a photo or do a circular film, video of the art piece. Or on my easel today, you see this quite often. What are you building or working or making at that moment? Take a photo or a video, add stickers. You can also do a voting, maybe between 2 pieces, a yes or a no, or a right or a left. People can choose between 2 pieces. Or you're busy choosing a frame for a piece. Would you choose the red frame or the blue frame? Or what title could you add to a piece? You can ask people to vote. Is it the first title or the second title? This will spark engagement and people are involved in your creative process. An Instagram story tip is to share your latest news. Or about a workshop, what we previously discussed, telling a story about upcoming events or shows. It's a great way to share your material list. What paints do you use? What suppliers do you use? And you can add a hashtag or you can add a mention of your suppliers. They'll only be too happy and maybe relink your post. You can do a quick tour around your studio with video or with photos. You can ask your audience about their favorite art or their artist or what mediums they like to use. Ask them why and try and connect with them through your story. You can even do a quick video tutorial, preferably live. Turn on your phone and press that record button and share some insights. Number 9 is a testimonial of the week. Maybe you've sold a piece of art and your client, your art buyer, is willing to share this with you, either through a caption or live on video. It's a great way of sharing, building a credibility. And number 10, you can share inspiring artist quotes. Whatever has inspired you, whatever words have inspired you, you can put this in a nice note and share it online. Of course, there's many other possibilities, and there are great apps like Mojo, for example, which has a free and a paid version that you can really do cool, nice video animations, adding GIFs and stickers to make it more entertaining. And there are many more options that you can use and discover. You need to find out what works for you and what feels right for your art, for your life, for your personality. If you want to find out more about how to use Instagram stories, then I mentioned that free resource. The questions and the answers and the tasks will help you define your Instagram objectives and help you start to communicate these with more confidence and more clarity. You can download this worksheet on www.soniasmallhere.com/story. So there you have it. Are you ready to make your Instagram story? I would love to see how you've embraced what you've discovered and how you're going to use this powerful tool to promote and sell your art. When you make a story, then add my tag @SoniaSmallHere so I can see your story. I look forward to seeing what you are going to say and how you're going to express your heart and your art. Next week, I'll be back with another episode of the Help I'm Artist podcast. Next week, it's all about pricing. How do you price your art successfully without having the feeling that you're giving too much away or that you're overpricing your art so that nobody wants to buy it? Do you have trouble pricing your art? And maybe you have specific questions when it comes to selling your art? Then reach out to me on a DM on Instagram. I would love to hear your questions, and I can incorporate them in next week's podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to leave a review on iTunes, as this makes the podcast more visible and accessible to other artists. See you next week. Bye for now.